Day 391 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 395, longest substring with at least k repeating characters. The difficulty level is medium, but don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. Given a string s and an integer k, return the length of the longest substring of s such that the frequency of each character in this substring is greater than or equal to k. If no such substring exists, return 0. All right, y'all, so that sounds simple enough, but let's go ahead and take a look at these examples just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. So in example 1, we have the input s equals a string AAA and BB, k equals 3. The output is 3. Explanation says the longest substring is AAA as A is repeated 3 times. So what we want to do to break this down one step further is we want to create the longest substring possible with characters that appear at least k times, which in this case is 3. So we want to create a substring of characters that has at least 3 characters, or where each character is repeated at least 3 times. The substring can be longer than 3 characters, but the characters in the substring have to be repeated at least 3 times, or at least k times, and this time is 3. In this example, the output is 3 because there are 3 A's, and so that is the length of the longest substring that we can create when we make sure that each character has is repeated at least 3 times. So let's go ahead and take a look at example 2 just in case that didn't make sense, where they give us a little bit larger string to work with so we could break it down a little bit better. So in example 2, we have the input s equals a string ABABBC, k equals 2. That means we want to create a substring of characters, all characters that appear at least 2 times. In this case, the output is 5. Explanation says the longest substring is ABABB, as A is repeated 2 times and B is repeated 3 times. So in this case, you can see we can create this substring of characters where each character appears at least 2 times. The A appears twice and the B appears 3 times, so we can include them both in our substring. And in the end, we have the output of 5 because this substring has 5 characters. As you can see, C only appears once, so since it doesn't appear at least k times, we cannot, in this case 2 times, we cannot use it in our substring, but we can use everything else like this. So I hope that made sense to y'all, and now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Solution is not going to be that difficult at all, so let's get started. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to create a base case to see if the string is empty, or if k is greater than the string length, then we could just return 0. So for that, we could just say if s dot is empty, or 2 vertical lines for or k is greater than s dot count, then we could just open up the brackets and we could say return 0. Then we're going to come underneath that and we need to see if k is 0, then the entire string is valid since every character appears at least 0 times. So we can say if k equals 0, then we can just say return s.count. Boom. Then we need to create a dictionary or hash map that's going to count the frequency of each character in the string, because we're going to need to know the count of each character to see if that count is greater than or equal to k. So for that, we could just declare a variable. We could call it hash. Then we'll say colon. It's going to be a dictionary. It's going to have a character. Then we're going to say colon. Oh, sorry, y'all. Character. Then we're going to say colon. It's going to have an int. And we could just initialize that with a blank dictionary like this. Boom. Now we need to count the frequency of each character. So for that, we could say s dot for each, open up the brackets, we're going to say character n, and then we're going to say hash square bracket character, comma, sorry y'all, character, comma, default, colon, 0, then we're going to say plus equals 1. Sorry, that should be a 1. So each time we see a character in the string, we're going to keep count of it, right? So the character will be here. We're going to keep count of it over here in the dictionary. We're going to start our count from 0, and each time we see that character, we're going to increment our count by 1. So we're going to count each time we see that character. Boom. Then we're going to move from the start of the string, or from the start of the string while the characters occur at least k times. So we're going to say declare a variable, we'll call it index, and we're going to set that equal to s dot start index. Then we're going to say, come underneath that, we're going to say while index is less than s dot end index. Then we're going to say comma, let count equal, sorry, that should say count, let count equal hash, open up the square bracket, s square bracket index, come outside of that square bracket, we're going to say comma, or come outside of both of those square brackets, and we're going to say comma, then we're going to say count is greater than or equal to k. Then we're going to open up the brackets, and we are going to say index equals s dot index, open up the parentheses after colon index, just like that. And if we've reached the end, then all characters meet the requirements. So we'll come underneath this and we'll say if index equal sign s dot end index, we're going to open up the brackets and we're going to say return s dot count. Boom. Now we need to recur on the left substring up to the bad character. So for that, we're going to use some recursion, and we're going to say, come right here, and we're going to say let left equal longest substring, which is the name of this function right that we're working with. That's where the recursion comes in. Then we're going to open up the parentheses. We're going to say string, open up some more parentheses. We're going to say s square bracket s dot start index. Then we're going to say dot less than sign, so up to index. Come outside of the square bracket and the parentheses, we're going to say comma k. Boom. Now we need to skip all of the characters that occur less than k, as that means they cannot be part of our valid substring that we are creating. So for that, we come underneath this and we say declare variable, we call it next index, and we'll set that equal to s dot index, open up the parentheses after colon index. Then we're going to come underneath this and we're going to say while next index is less than s dot end index, comma, let count equal hash, open up the square bracket s square bracket next index, come outside both of those square brackets, we're going to say comma count is less than k, and we're going to open up the brackets, then we're going to say next index equals s dot index, open up the parentheses after colon next index, just like that. Now we need to use some recursion for the right substring after skipping the bad characters. So for that, we could come underneath this while loop and we'll say let right equal longest substring, open up the parentheses, And we're going to say string, open up the parentheses again, S square bracket, next index, dot dot less than sign, S dot end index, come outside of the square bracket and the parentheses, still inside the other parentheses, and we're going to say comma K. Now we just need to return the max between the left and right valid substrings. So we're going to come underneath this, and all we have to do, we're going to come here, right here, and we're going to say return max, open up the parentheses, left, comma, right. Now that should be all she wrote, y'all. Let's go ahead and give it a run before we submit it. See if it's accepted. It's accepted, so let's go ahead and submit it. See what it looks like after we submit it. And there it is, y'all. 1 millisecond beats 76.12% of users with Swift. We get those numbers up, but I feel like that's good for now. And with that being said, make sure you get one more look at the code. This is the top part. This is the middle slash bottom part, or this is the rest of the bottom part right here. And yeah, y'all, with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.